Do you ever feel like being smart is more of a curse than a blessing? That the more you think, the harder life gets? Well, what if I told you that some of the smartest people in history won by pretending to be dumb? Sounds insane, right? But it's exactly what Schopenhauer, one of the most brilliant philosophers of all time, discovered. He wasn't alone in this realization. Throughout history, some of the greatest minds, leaders, visionaries, and strategists have used the very same principle to their advantage. Napoleon, Warren Buffett, Steve Jobs. They all mastered the art of playing dumb. Not because they were stupid, but because they knew that sometimes the best way to win is to let others underestimate you. Welcome to Schopenhauer's secret playbook, Fake Dumb, Win Big. Do you ever feel like the smarter you get, the harder life becomes? Like knowledge isn't power, but a burden, a weight pulling you down while others float through life, carefree and content. Arthur Schopenhauer knew this feeling all too well. He was one of the greatest thinkers of his time, yet he learned something most intellectuals never do. At 19, he received a letter from his mother. Not a letter of praise, not a letter of encouragement, but a cold, unforgiving truth. You think you're the smartest person in the room. Well, congratulations, no one likes you. She wasn't done. She told him his intelligence was useless to the world, that his obsession with correcting, analyzing, and improving everything around him only pushed people away. And for the first time, Schopenhauer understood. Being smart wasn't enough. If anything, it was isolating him. Because people don't admire intelligence as much as they admire influence. And influence doesn't belong to the one who knows the most. It belongs to the one who plays the game the smartest. Schopenhauer realized that the greatest minds in history didn't always win by proving their intelligence. They won by knowing when to hide it. Being underestimated isn't a weakness, it's a weapon. And that weapon starts with silence. The loudest person in the room isn't always the smartest. In fact, they're often the easiest to ignore. People who talk too much reveal too much. They expose their plans, their insecurities, their weaknesses. They crave validation. They want to be seen as intelligent, as capable, as superior. But the ones who truly hold power, they speak only when necessary. Schopenhauer understood that silence is not just the absence of words. Silence is control. Silence is tension. Silence is power. Socrates knew this too. He used what we now call Socratic irony, pretending not to know, asking simple questions, letting others expose their own ignorance. And when the moment was right, he would strike, unraveling their logic piece by piece. Sun Tzu, the ancient war strategist, said it best. All warfare is based on deception. If your enemy believes you are weak, they drop their guard. And when they drop their guard, you win. This isn't just a strategy for war, it's a strategy for life. Think of the most respected people in any room. They don't interrupt. They don't over-explain. They don't rush to prove themselves. They listen. They observe. And when they finally speak, every word carries weight. Silence isn't emptiness, it's presence. And those who master it control everything. But silence is just the first step. Because if you really want to win, if you want to shape the world without the world realizing it, there's something else you need to master, the art of playing dumb. Intelligence intimidates people. It makes them defensive. It makes them skeptical. No one likes feeling outsmarted. Schopenhauer knew this, and so did some of the greatest minds in history. They didn't always flaunt their intelligence. Sometimes they did the opposite. Take Warren Buffett, one of the richest men in the world, a financial genius. Yet he presents himself as a simple old man who loves burgers and Coca-Cola. He could dominate every conversation with his knowledge. But he doesn't. He lets others talk. He lets them feel in control. And when the moment is right, he delivers one sentence, just one, that changes everything. Or look at Steve Jobs. He would often act clueless in meetings, asking simple questions, making others believe they were leading the discussion. But in reality, he was guiding them the entire time, forcing them to simplify their ideas until they were revolutionary. And then there's Napoleon, the master of deception. He deliberately played the fool, letting his enemies believe he was reckless, unpredictable, incompetent. They underestimated him until it was too late. Schopenhauer called this the art of concealment. People hate being corrected. They hate feeling inferior. So when you make them think they're smarter than you, they relax. They trust you. They let their guard down. And that's when you win. Because playing dumb isn't about being dumb. It's about controlling perception. You don't need to prove you're the smartest person in the room. You just need to make sure that when the moment comes, you're the one holding all the cards. But knowing when to hold back is only part of the equation. If you really want to use this to your advantage, you need to understand something deeper. How to make people believe they are in control, while secretly guiding them exactly where you want them to go. People don't like being told what to do. They like to believe they're making their own choices. But Schopenhauer understood something crucial. If you want people to follow your lead, you don't command them. You guide them, subtly, invisibly. The best manipulators in history never forced their will upon others. They made others believe it was their own idea. Ever noticed how great leaders rarely say, "Here's what we're going to do"? Instead, they ask questions. They plant seeds. They let others take ownership of an idea that was never really theirs to begin with. Take corporate boardrooms. The smartest negotiators don't barge in and dictate terms. They let the other side feel like they're winning, making them believe they came up with the best deal. In reality, every move was orchestrated from the start. Athletes do this too. Ever seen a professional fighter let their opponent land a few hits? They make them overconfident, reckless. Then, when the opponent thinks they have control, they strike. Schopenhauer himself said, "To play the fool is sometimes the wisest course of action, for it allows others to lower their guard and reveal their true selves. Because when people believe they are leading, they stop resisting, they stop questioning, and that's when they unknowingly walk the path you laid out for them." But there's one more step, one final piece to this puzzle. Because knowing how to influence people is one thing, but knowing when to reveal your true intelligence and when to keep it hidden, that is the ultimate key to power. Revealing intelligence at the wrong time is worse than not having it at all. Too soon, and people will resist. Too late, and the moment is lost. Schopenhauer understood that intelligence, like a weapon, is most powerful when used sparingly. When it arrives unexpectedly, think of a chess game. If you reveal your strategy too early, your opponent adjusts. But if you let them believe they are winning, let them feel comfortable, and then, at the perfect moment, you make your move. That's checkmate. The greatest minds in history understood this principle. Warren Buffett doesn't overwhelm people with financial jargon. He lets them believe investing is simple. He doesn't appear intimidating until he makes a billion-dollar move. Steve Jobs would let his engineers think they were in control, let them feel like they were the geniuses, until, at the final moment, he'd step in, change one crucial detail, and redefine the entire product. Napoleon lured his enemies into false confidence, making them think they had him cornered. And then, when they overcommitted, he crushed them. Schopenhauer called this the advantage of delayed revelation. Most people want immediate recognition. They want to be seen as brilliant now, but those who truly understand power, they wait. They let the world underestimate them. And when they finally reveal their intelligence, it's undeniable. Because intelligence isn't about showing off, it's about winning at the right moment. But this lesson isn't just about strategy, it's about something deeper, something Schopenhauer realized long before most philosophers did. That intelligence alone is not enough, because the world doesn't reward intelligence. It rewards those who understand human nature. And if you truly want to win, not just in strategy but in life, you have to master something even greater, the ability to balance intelligence with humility. Schopenhauer was one of the greatest philosophers of his time. But even he knew that intelligence on its own is powerless, because the world doesn't operate on pure logic. It operates on perception, on influence, on emotion. Raw intelligence without the ability to navigate human nature is a lonely road. It isolates, it alienates, it creates resistance. And maybe you've felt this too. Have you ever found yourself in a conversation holding back what you really think? Have you ever felt like your depth, your complexity, was something people didn't really want to see? Do you ever feel like the smarter you are, the more misunderstood you become? Because that's the paradox. Intelligence should be an advantage, but in a world where appearances often matter more than depth, it can feel like a weight. Schopenhauer understood this. And that's why this isn't about manipulation. It's not about deceiving people. It's about adaptation. It's about learning how to exist in a world that often rewards confidence over competence, charisma over wisdom, simplicity over depth. And instead of fighting against that reality, using it to your advantage. Not to suppress your intelligence, but to create the space where your intelligence can actually be heard. So the next time you feel the need to prove yourself, ask yourself, do you want to be right, or do you want to be understood? Do you want to impress people, or do you want to influence them? And most importantly, do you want to hide who you are, or do you want to find a way to truly express it? Because in the end, that's the real secret, not just winning, but finally being seen. And hey, if you made it this far, congratulations. You've officially mastered the art of patience. Now let's test your intelligence. Click that subscribe button, but make it look like an accident. Schopenhauer would be proud. Take care. Your old pal.